we're going to be looking at scope. All right, so Python scope essentially is when we define a variable within a region, that variable is only visible within that scope, all right, within that region. So we have a local scope. For example, here we define x within a function. Okay, that x we've defined would only be visible within that function. All right, so here is saying that we can have a function within a function, and a variable we define will be visible within the inner function. All right, so we have 300 up there. When we print it inside the inner function, it works. There is a global scope as well. So a global scope is a variable we define on the body of our file. All right, so in this case, x is defined at the very top. So we can access x within a function or outside of a function. All right, so that's what we have there. So it prints 300 on both of them. So that's a global scope. Also, we can have here we have a local 200 and we have a print. So when we print it, the inner one will print 200 and the global scope will print 300. So we've used the same variable names and it's printed to different values. So scopes do matter. So when we define a variable, we need to know how and where to define them. All right, so there's also a global keyword. So you basically just put a global and then a variable name and it becomes global. So even though we've defined this inside of a function, we can access it outside of a function. It will act just like this variable here. So it's just a different way of defining a global variable. All right, so out here is where we print x. Usually it wouldn't work, but because it's global, it will print 300. All right, so that's the one. So a quick FYI there. All right, so it's super cool. It's nice to know. So when you're reading someone else's code and you see that, you know what it's doing. All right, so we can also change a global variable by saying global x, and then we can reassign a new value. So you can see the value printed becomes 200 down here because we've changed that value up here. So by changing it to 200 here, we can print it below, but we have to use this global keyword first for it to be able to work. So guys, that's it for scope. So we have local, we have global, we have different ways of defining global scope. Go ahead and just pause here or go to my GitHub and revise some of this. That's it guys. I'll see you in the next video.